is a test. This is a test. This is the first time we're doing this, so we'll see how it goes. All right. How's it going, everyone? Let's see. I think everything is now live completely, and hopefully we'll get some people in here. As we get started, I am going to figure out how I can move these guests back. I'm Jesse. Welcome to the codeSTACKr channel if you're watching on YouTube. This is also streaming on Twitter, and we have some guests here where we're going to talk about Web3 and crypto and current state, future state, all that sort of stuff. Hopefully get some audience participation as well. Let's start out with Daniel. Do you want to introduce yourself and we'll kind of go around?
Yeah, how's it going, guys? Thank you, JC, for having us. It's going to be a fun session. We can talk about anything third web or Web3, whatever we would like to. And this is live, so we're going to make some mistakes, like me sharing the link to the whole world right now. But anyway, apart from that, looking forward to it. I run a channel called Hashlips on YouTube, so feel free to check it out as well. JC, for having us here.
Awesome. Shivam, how about you?
Hey guys. This is my first live, by the way. I just wanted to say that. And it's going to be interesting because, like Daniel said, definitely we're going to make some mistakes and have fun while we are doing it. But since Web3 is all about like community building and being prompt, being honest, being truthful and trustworthy, I think this is a good way to talk to people upfront and share our thoughts across. So I'm really happy to be here. I'm just a curious exploratory dev, working with Daniel on some micro experiments, I would say, and having fun along the way. But it's fun to be in this space. Thank you for having me here.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And Julian?
Yeah, I think we should all introduce ourselves because I'm not sure that everybody know who we are. So yeah, I'm Julian from Eat the Block, so a YouTube channel to help Web2 developers get into Web3, and I've been in this space since 2017. And in 2022 is amazing because we have finally we have so many people coming. So we have all these exciting things, and also have more and more Web3 content on YouTube. So yeah, good times. Yeah, even though the market crashed, but who cares? This is build time.
Awesome.
The market.
Yeah. So, quick disclaimer here. So this is the first time that we're doing this live stream. We have a little glitch here. If you are joining with the incorrect link to watch in, I think that we just shared a new link. Okay.
I did share
awesome.
a new link. So
Awesome.
people need to join with the link on Discord and Twitter right now, not the one that I've posted out before. I think that's the correct one.
Yeah. So we have an audience link and then a panelist link, and I think we accidentally shared the wrong link. So if you want to join in on the discussion, there is a chat where you can. Looks like a few people are in the chat as well. You can also request to join and ask questions as well, and so we will invite you onto the stage to join in on the discussion if you want. So let's get started as well, and let's talk about like the current state, like what's going on with Web3, with crypto. Like obviously it's a bit of a crypto winter right now. What do we think? What do we think is going on? Daniel, you want to get started on that?
Yeah, well, I mean, Julian touched on this, the market crash happening. Of course, it's all scary, you know. I mean, here we are. But I guess the previous time before this stuff happened, I left crypto back in I think 2017, 18. When did it crash? You know, that big dump. I left, and this time I'm not doing the same mistake. So it is scary, but as we all know, the technology is so solid. And I think we can talk a bit about this. You know, that I feel like it's gonna just rise. I mean, Julian, you also have it in for, you know, the Web3 and blockchain development. How do you find this crash? Because, you know, as a content creator, you know, Jesse, yourself as well, but as a content creator, are you scared at all? Are you positive that we're going to stay in this space forever?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, I've been there before in 2019 and 2018, 2019. So in 2017, there was this huge bubble and then this huge crash. And so in 2017, I mean, everything was much more early. Now I feel like we're more mature, so I feel more confident that we're gonna get through this. Um, and also, you have to know that the reward comes to the people who can stay during the crash, because otherwise if you just come in when everything is booming, then it's too easy, everybody can do it. So because like when the market goes up and you have like more financing for project, more jobs, salary go up, etc., then all of these things are going to the people who have already a couple of years of experience. But if you just say, hey, by the way, I'm interested, I just pop up, it doesn't work. Yeah, so I'm not too worried. Yeah.
I'm excited that you're not worried. Me too. I think it's such a fun space. We're going to have a long and successful career, hopefully, in the blockchain space, which I'm really looking forward to. So thanks, Jesse, for that question. But a question from my side that I want to know, because these days NFT, like I'm big into NFTs. I don't know I know Shivam. He's been touching NFTs with me. We're busy building a metaverse. What do you guys think about this metaverse stuff that's happening?
I think I'll like to just share some thoughts there. I mean, the thing, I mean, Ready Player One has definitely set like a benchmark in terms of what a metaverse could do and could be, right? So it's fun that we are seeing people experimenting with ideas where they could build their own metaverses and trying to adapt that. I think we're in the way early Lego stages where we are just building out the Lego pieces to build the entire system. I'm sure we'll be at a place where we see ourselves buying something virtually which really doesn't exist, but it still has certain value, and that value is directly exchanged from one place to the other. Like I could gift a very valuable article to someone across the globe by just sharing an address. I mean, the power of the technology, like you said, Daniel. If you all look the positive sides of it, there's so much more to it than just being NFTs and trades, right? It's a value exchange at the end rather than being just an asset exchange. That's what I'd say basically.
As far as the whole metaverse thing, I don't, I haven't dug in too much into the actual metaverse. I think that it ties in very well with NFTs and all of that, but it kind of goes back to the discussion as right now NFTs are viewed as purely artwork, but there's so many other use cases for NFTs, and so how can that be used in the metaverse is what the questions that I haven't answered for myself yet.
Yeah, I mean, obviously blockchain is more than that. It's finance and a huge part of it, but I like to think of it as the funness as well. So that's why I was just asking, because today we're touching about all aspects. I guess Julian can touch more on the financial aspects of it. I know you've been big in the DeFi, kind of talking about that. What do you think about the future of investments regarding blockchain?
Yeah, so first I'd like to get back to the previous topic about a metaverse. So right now it seems a little bit gimmicky. It seems like there's no traction in it. It's like maybe like a marketing buzzword, but long term it really makes sense. And I really wonder whether it's going to be one project that build this like metaverse thing, or if it's existing project, let's say like video game, that start to use this metaverse ID and make their game more and more like sort of metaversey, and then maybe several of these games start to connect. So maybe it'll be the how it's going to happen. But yeah, and we are already a little bit in the metaverse, like in the sense that so much of our life is on social media, etc. And I mean, our YouTube channel, for example, have some value to us And this is also a form of metaverse. This is an asset that exists digitally. So I think we're already in it. Yeah. But for your second question about the investment side, so the crypto market follow the stock market, which follow the central bank. So we know that now we have this huge inflation going on. So the central bank started to increase the interest rate, and that has an influence on all the rest. So that's why the crypto market are crashing. But what I think, and why a lot of analysts think, is that they won't be able to increase this rate very much because it's going to trigger a recession. And so they're going to try, but like maybe within like 6 months or 1 year, they're going to say, all right, we've done everything we could, but this has too much impact. So now we are decreasing the rate again. And this is what happened in 2018. So, I mean, I know this topic is less exciting that Web3 stuff, but it's important to pay attention to this because it has consequences.
Yeah, I also think so. I mean, it is really important to think about this because it is, for me, this sustainability of this space, right? And when you touched on the metaverses and all these kind of things that's now kind of gimmicky, I agree. I think every single person is now starting with this, their own kind of metaverse version. But this all ties in together. I would like to see this Web3 to be the future of living, side by side with it, buying things in the real world, being able to show them in digital spaces like we already are talking here right now. But I mean, imagine we could, instead of sending emojis here in the chat, we could give someone a actual item that they can use somewhere else. It would be really, really cool.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, that's the most exciting thing. I think, right now it's all fun and games, which is great. Fun and games that needs to stick around as well. But there's so many other aspects of it that we haven't even tapped into yet, and so that's really why I'm here to stick around, is to do whatever I can, the little part that I can to help it grow into what I know it can be and what it will be. Like, so the more of us that kind of hop on and help out, the quicker and better it will get, right?
Yeah, I mean, we're all doing our parts. Us just sitting here, I guess it does contribute. Absolutely. Every single video you make,
Yes,
Julian, myself, Shivam is now joining the space. By the way, just something interesting about Shivam, he's like actually working on humanoid AI robots. So that's pretty cool, guys. I don't know, Shivam, maybe you can tell us what you can see with AI in this space, because that's not like, it is a controversial topic, AI, for some people, but AI fitting in, because we are going to a futuristic
Yeah.
world with you see this kind of AI systems fitting in place.
I think I'd like to just share a small session or I would say experience that I had with AI. Uh, I remember a time when I was just programming the skills and trying to make it more conversational, and then just working with my fellow mates and trying to decide what sort of language would it speak, and got me thinking really that in a way we are trying to be more humane when we are teaching AI to talk like humans, right? Because when we normally talk to people, there's a bit of anger, there's a bit of rage, but we don't want the normal conversations or the customer service conversations to be that, right? We want them to be very normal. So I would say, if I take out the positive side of it, it's definitely the learning journey that's more exciting in that space. Secondly, I think AI by itself is again uh, a controversial topic, like you said, Daniel. But I would say if the efforts are in the right direction, there's always a yin and yang situation where you have a little bit of both, right? But if there's a constant force, and of course like a decentral force that's working together to build something which is meaningful, like which is for the greater good, which is still like an imaginary space. I mean, if I relate this to the findings of the universe, like we're still exploring space, right? We're still exploring the universe. We don't know where it ends, but we don't stop the exploration, right? it's similar to AI, and these aspects that we talk about, right? Uh, the moment when we stop exploring is when a trend stops or technology stops. So all of us are like still exploring it, trying to figure out where it fits, right? But I see very different use cases across. I mean, NFT can have a life of its own if you really want it to, but uh, should we depends on the use case, right? Yeah, it's fun. The fun thing that I find about this is like I'm just fascinated by how people are really willing to have their identities. They see themselves in these NFTs that they buy, right? And if you look back at time, I mean, I remember Pokemon cards is what I used to buy, right? And I was very happy when I got a Pikachu or Mewtwo, right? And that was like a win situation for me, and I used to relate myself to these personalities, right? So that's what AI is about, like how humane the conversations could be. How can you like relate all of that you have in your real life and bring it onto a digital asset?
I think you hit on an interesting topic there because there's so many corporations that are
Yeah,
working on AI. But what if the building and the maintaining of that AI and the training of that AI was decentralized, where it had
yeah,
more, not the governance of a corporation, but of the people. Um,
yeah.
that's something I've never really thought about.
I think there is one movie that explored the theme. It's called Terminator.
Yeah, I think there actually is a
Yeah,
Skynet,
give
right?
the power to people. It could be
Yeah.
scary, but definitely.
Mm,
Yeah.
awesome. So we have a few people in the chat, and there is one question that I see here. Um, Let me see. He's requesting to come on. Now, before I let anyone on stage, just make sure that you keep this PG. Like, please no cursing or anything like that. We want to keep this, very kid friendly, because this is live streamed. And so, if for some reason you say something a little off, I will kick you back out. So, um, our rule. Let's see. Let me accept there. And if you want to ask your question, you don't have to turn your video on, but if you want to turn your audio on and ask your question, feel free.
Am I audible?
Yes, yes, we can hear you.
Hi everyone. This is a really nice moment for me. I've been like following all of you for like 2 to 3 months for now, and like codeSTACKr, your was the first video I got recommended for building an NFT minting app. So hi, my name is Arul, and I'm from India. I am 15 years old and I've been into coding since I was 12. I was mainly into Web 2 and developing many front end applications. I learned how to design things, and now I was into Web 3 for like some months. And like I have many ideas, and what I thought from the beginning was to fund my ideas, I really need to get my developing skills onto it and just build some minting dapps for people. So I've been just surfing on YouTube, and Hashlips was like really nice for me. I also like dropped the uh, suggestion basically for YouTube on the Discord server Hashlips. There is a really nice collection Hashlips lab GitHub, which is NFT ERC 721 collection. It was also shown in the ultimate guide as well, and like I only have some experience in the JSX or JS, but I don't have much with the TSX, and I was just like having a problem. And so I would just request that if you could like give a video on it to explain it. But that's not my question. The question is that basically there are many less resources. Like if I also go on to like I have a minting dApp as well made of myself. I learned by myself, and so like when we go on to like whitelisting or less gas efficient um, smart contracts, so like there are resources, but I feel that they are kind of incomplete because they give some kind of uh, answers, but they leave the most important questions there as well. Like if I also searched for Merkle proof whitelist, um, for whitelisting, so basically they were like telling how that we can check the proof, like we can get the answer as true or false, but they like how, like into more detail, like how can we use it in a front end, or as well as David Brasmadzik is like a YouTube channel as well, he also explained it, but like I also found it a bit incomplete for a beginner like me. So like how and where can we find good resources as well, because I also searched on GitHub as well. I searched like NFT minting dApps, and there were a lot of them, and they like had two contracts, one for the normal one, and then they had another I whitelist something, and then they made some constants between them, and then they further they so I was a bit um confused in those.
When it comes to Merkle trees and whitelisting, that's not the easiest subject to teach,
Yes.
and maybe that's why there's not as many tutorials on it. I would say that that is definitely one of the more advanced things to learn. I think that you're doing great though. Good job with all of the effort that you've put in so far. I think getting started with creating a DApp or a decentralized application, you really have to start with Web2 technologies. And so, learning the HTML, CSS, JavaScript, that sort of thing in order to create that front end, along with the blockchain knowledge of Solidity or whatever chain you're using to create the contract, and then that's when you start getting into the more advanced things of how do you do whitelisting, how do you create the Merkle trees, and how do you parse that and figure out if someone's whitelisted. Um, and I think your question is how do you find resources on how to learn that? And I don't know any off the top of my head of any great resources of how to learn that. Does anyone else have any thoughts on it?
I
Well,
think, of
I,
course,
I
like
can.
Hashlips and codeSTACKr.
Sorry, Shivam, you go. My internet's lagging, man. I'm getting you guys 2 seconds delay.
That's okay. I was just saying, like, we've seen all the great channel creators right here. Like, you could go to Hashlips, you could go to codeSTACKr, go to Julian. Then I've used BuildSpace as well, which has been pretty good. They have good tutorial systems. Uh, but at the end, I would say, like, for me, it has maximum been the Discord spaces, which have been really helpful, like joining the Discord channels, talking to fellow devs, and literally clinging on to the mentors and maybe code it in a group rather than doing it as an individual, right? That's what has
Yeah.
been proven beneficial for me.
Exactly. That was the thinking was I having, and also in the Hashlip server and the codeSTACKr, I've been a bit active, and I've been like asking people whether I could just work for free for them, like as a front end dev, and they could just handle the smart contracts, and then I would also get to know how connections actually in real world work, which I'm specialized in front end. I can just implement that and also learn the smart contracts part as well, but I don't think anyone is interested in I was like asking like 10 people a day, like can I, but uh no one was really interested in helping, so they were like, no, I'm just fine. Or they had some other people, and so I was just like in the NFT Academy server as well, I've been like providing services, trying but not much people there. And I really short, but I just found this tutorial on Udemy about making the full NFT minting application. Uh, and I found it to be like really advanced as well, like an intermediate one. So, being a beginner, should I take it or just spend some more time in learning the basics and having my grip on it?
Yeah, I think you're doing great. Like I said, you're 15. Like you're way ahead of the game already. I would say continue learning. There's not much that you have to pay for, honestly. Like there's so much that you can find articles to learn from, YouTube to learn from. I'm not going to tell you that you need to go out and buy a course or anything. I think that you can learn everything that you need. I would say continue working on your portfolio, continue building front end things, create a portfolio of projects that you can then show others, that kind of proves to them that you have built things and you know what you're doing, and then just keep doing what you're doing. I think that's the best advice that I could give.
And
I'd just like to add
actually,
one more thing.
yeah,
Yeah, so I mean, it's also important to focus on one thing at a time. Like if you think about Merkle trees, if you think about whitelisting, uh, these are all great large topics, right? So focus on micro stuff first. Maybe think about just creating your own NFT collection smart contract, right? Try to understand what all different types of drops or additions or contracts, ERC 750, 720, ERC 1155. Have a look at those standards. Like go one after the other and go slow. Like you have a lot of
okay.
time. You're 15. There's a long road ahead, and you're right in the era where it's just shaping up as you grow old together, right? So that's what I would suggest.
And also like
Yeah.
having a CV, like each one of when I ask with people of joining the team, they're like just having asking for me for a CV, but uh, as I'm a beginner and I don't have much product projects to show, I've just like built some NFT landing page only front end and a minting dApp, a simple minting dApp, and I just show them that these are my projects and I really want to get this done. And even I have been scammed, like I would say scam, because I just worked for a person. Was like, okay, you can just develop a front end for me, and I developed him and he never responded to me again. So like that was a bit disheartening. And like what should I personally for now get for a CV to like join a team?
I can comment on that, just on what Jesse said, recommending building on your portfolio right now. It's absolutely important to watch all content out there on, the blockchain building stuff. As content creators, I'm sure, we understand that we also research stuff the whole time. There's like sometimes I watch, these guys' videos here, Eat the Blocks, Jesse's videos, like everyone's videos, to kind of get a broader understanding. So you might find that some videos have more content, touch on different subjects better, in different ways. So my opinion and my advice is to watch everything you can. You're very young, you're doing great, but watch everything you can, consume, be like a little sponge, but at the same time develop. Don't just watch, type code out, and that will give you a good portfolio to play around with.
Do you
Also
have
is like
anything to add to that,
Waggy.
Julian?
I'm sorry.
Do you have any advice for Arul before we move on to our next topic?
Yeah, no, it's great that you start to be interested in Web3 so young. So that gives you a head start compared to the other. Like when you start to be adult, if you have like 3 or 4 years of programming already, that's great. So yeah, learn, build your portfolio, and and yeah, but nothing more really. But yeah, so yeah, just be patient.
Yeah, I
Just
think
a
I think
last
you're doing.
thing which I wanted to just ask or just request, like, can we get a Solidity course from you, Jesse?
You might get a Solidity course from Daniel before myself. Daniel knows a lot more than I do,
Yeah, and
and I think
like from
Julian has Solidity stuff on Eat the Blocks as well. I'm pretty sure, correct?
yeah.
Yeah, we have a lot of things on the YouTube channel, and if you want to have something more structured, then you can
Yeah.
check out the courses on our website. Yeah.
Yeah. Julian
And can
Julian
we,
has much more on the
yeah,
topics than I do.
can we just get an explanation, as I said in the starting, of the NFT ERC 721 by Hashlip Labs? Like just a simple video explaining that how it
Yeah.
worked. And
Yeah, so we have some exciting things coming up, which you can look forward to. Shivama's actually sitting here. We're redeveloping the whole art engine with all the tools to make it really, more usable for devs in the space, for businesses to use it. and I'll go through each and every line with you so you understand it. But like Jesse has said, if you want to learn Solidity, go and watch Eat the Blocks. That's where I also got my tips on Solidity. It was very cool. And what Julian does is they split it up in smaller segments for you, so you get to understand each concept separately, and you can use it together. So just do that. We'll try our best. But good job, man. You've been killing it so far.
Yeah,
Thank
thanks.
you all
Thanks
so much.
for coming on and asking a question, Arul.
Thank
And
you.
just like you said, just keep up the good work. You're doing great. Don't be discouraged. Just keep learning. We're all learning. In fact, in this industry, there is no end to learning, and so we're always learning something new. But let's move on to another topic now.
Thank you.
Again, thank you for joining, Arul. Um, what what does everyone think about Web 5? Let's throw that in there. Does anyone have any opinions on Web 5?
I don't even know what it is. Like, I just saw this new term pop up. I thought that was a joke. Like, is it like DeFi on Bitcoin, or I'm not quite sure.
Yeah, basically. I mean, there's no details like you said. It's just this was thrown out there, and apparently it's a thing now. So we're just gonna skip 4 and just go straight to 5. Yeah.
Can I
It sounds right.
just say, it's like, for me, it's almost like people talking about 4D. Like, we haven't even fully gotten 3D. Well, it's there, right? But to do 4D, it's like going into interdimensions. Now, we haven't even fully understood third web yet. Now it's like 4G, 5G, 6G, all the G's as well.
Yeah.
You can't just carry on like this. I don't know. I don't know enough about the topic, Jesse. Do you, Shivam?
No, I mean, I've just heard the term and seen it popping out right here and there, but I'm still getting my head around Web3, and I hoped that there would be a Web4. But like, if you're seeing Web5 now, I think we might end up seeing WebX or Web12 or something in the
Well, we
future.
might end the video now, JC, because now all of our content's pointless.
Exactly. Exactly. No, my understanding is that it's like built on Web3, but it's on it's like Bitcoin based, and where, I mean, it's all the basic Web3 stuff. So I don't truly understand it either. I just thought it'd be funny to bring up the topic because nobody understands it, obviously.
I think they're gonna be a new generation of influencer that say like, oh, like, forget about this Web3 guy, like, they're outdated. Now it's Web5. It's terrible.
Exactly. Exactly. I mean, you would expect something like that from Jack Dorsey. So
Yeah.
I had an interesting question that we could
Sure.
talk about. Like, it's usually like I get this question myself, and I'm still trying to find the right answer to it. But is what exactly do you put on chain and what you put off chain? Like, where does the data of on chain stop and the off chain starts? Any opinion on that? Because this is a question that I've got a lot from a lot of people, and I think it'll be nice to just talk a bit about it in this space.
Yeah, I have something to say about that. So so you just put the strict minimum on chain because it's very expensive. So everything that belongs to your core logic and that you want to keep decentralized, and all the rest off chain. For example, like images or anything that is really heavy should be outside, and then you can store hashes on chain, or even hash of hash if you want to combine them. But that also means that for a certain class of application, it's just not possible to build it on the blockchain. So we are limited.
Yeah, I can also agree there, Shivam. The most minimum thing you can store, I think it comes down to the basics like authentication, verifying assets exist. That's I think what you should use it for. But like you said, Julian, it's then difficult to make the proper Web3 applications, decentralized application, not Web3, but full-on decentralized applications. We are, I guess, I don't know if you're asking this, Shivam, because we are building a decentral metaverse, which is open source. and it's extremely difficult for us to do this decentralized. And the reason is because we can't just keep on reading from blockchains, right? We're going to have to introduce Web2 servers to carry the load, for instance. Do caching. Yes, you can use IPFS to upload bulk data, but still IPFS has limitations and it's slow. Depending on if you use your own gateways and nodes and stuff, you can work around it, but I would say most minimum stuff as well, man. Just hashes, numbers.
Yeah, the reason why I had this question was like, if I look at the whole stack now, we had front end, we had back end, now we have blockchain, which is like a third stack item that's going into the stack, right? And now I don't know what would you call it, like full stack or something like double full stack, or what do you call it exactly? But
It's called
yeah,
cube stack.
cube stack. Oh,
Cube
that's
stack.
interesting. That's interesting for sure.
Cube.
And then there's the
That's a cool
decentral
name.
piece, which is, I love that.
Cube stack from Stacker. Yeah, I mean that's definitely a question that I've always had as well. Like, how do you build an actual dApp? Because there's so much Web2 still involved in it, and so like, at what point is it's considered a dApp if you just connect to a chain and pull something in, or like how much of it has to be decentralized? But like you said, like there's only so much that that you can put on the chain, and latency wise and all of that. So I think that, I mean, there are some other companies, I can't think of off the top of my head. I was just reading an article yesterday about a company who is working on fully decentralized apps, but I didn't dig into the technology as far as exactly how they're doing it. And so I think that maybe we'll get there, but at this point, you've got to keep with just the simple stuff.
Yeah, Jesse, I agree. I think to the point where, obviously, completely decentralized apps, I would say, is mostly systems based, contracts talking to each other could be a fully decentralized system. But I believe if there's Web2 stuff involved, because there's always going to be, if it at least talks to a blockchain, I think that starts becoming a dApp, right? In my opinion. Also, to some degree, you can't just have your voting system be on the blockchain and the rest, the core app, not. I see someone is commenting "dang" in the chats. That's like some memes that's happening right now in our server. So I don't know who this is, but do we have any more questions from people watching this now?
There's another question that came in.
Let me just add on that, because I think it's a great question. So there are basically different degree of decentralization for your dApp. So for the most simple thing would just be to do a Web2 application that just read the data from the blockchain. That's the easiest thing. Then next level will be to do reading and writing. So you interact with MetaMask. Then if you want to go even more decentralized, then you have to think of how your protocol is going to work. In can we vote everything on the blockchain or not? And the final touch would be to decentralize your front end and put it on IPFS.
Yeah.
I think if you can get that right, that'll be amazing. That's really cool. I've uploaded a website before, a static website, but it gets so it's so crazy. But that's also something that I believe will be updated, right? I know, Shivam, we've been talking about it, but I know that the storage mechanisms would need to be updated in the space for us to really use it throughout the whole, world. Because at this stage, we are struggling, and there's only about 20,000 creators in the space, and it is a bit, laggy, I would say.
Yeah,
I think Brave browser by itself supports IPFS as a protocol, right? So, I mean, it also needs a mass adoption on the tools that we are using for the protocol to be successful. So it's going to take a while. I mean, the backend systems are pretty easy to start off with, but when it comes to the user-facing tools, is where the main innovation and space needs to take place, I would say.
I think the biggest issue, I mean, it's all in its infancy, so it's all getting figured out, obviously, right? But the biggest issue
Yeah.
right now with putting everything decentralized is like, what happens when you want to update your website? Like, what happens when you want to redesign or you need to update whatever, or there was a bug and you need to fix it, right? So every version of your website ever is still going to be on there because you're gonna have to re-upload, and you can't, because you can't change something that's already there. So you've uploaded a bug in your website. You needed to go fix it now. So that buggy version is actually still there, and now you've got your new version, and it's just there's a lot to figure out there.
I think too, just as a follow-up to that, I would say everything that you want to make public should go on chain, and and things that are private, and things that don't require like a frequent provenance story, I would keep that off chain.
Yeah.
That would be me.
No,
Yeah,
at this current state, I agree.
this raises, like, to me, some copyright issues, right? Because I know there's been collections that's coming out that's making use of heavy copywriting issues and stuff. And in my opinion, like, if we go that decentral where nothing can be altered afterwards and it's being spread around the whole world, if a company use something that they shouldn't have, they're going to be automatically in trouble. So, as a community, we'll probably need to come up with ways to suss those things out, if that occurs, because, if otherwise people would be too scared to use, um, you know, the blockchain in that way, because they're going to be too scared to make mistakes. I mean, we all are deploying code because, you're always waiting for those hackers to attack your contracts, but at the same time, all these things to think of as well with fully decentralized apps.
Yeah. Awesome. We do have another question here. We're getting low on time as well, so let's go through this question. It's even with the current conditions. This is from Rocksteady. With the current conditions and us still being early in the space, what are you most excited about in the near future? That's a great question. I can get started. Like the most exciting thing that I'm looking forward to is seeing where the space goes. Like again, I don't think that blockchain, crypto, all the stuff, it's not going anywhere. It's going to continue to improve. And NFTs specifically, I'm excited about the use cases that will come from NFTs outside of artwork, because there's so many other use cases. So I'm excited to see where it goes and how I can help it get there. Who else would like to answer that question? What are you most excited about in the near future?
I think I'll just plus one to what you said, Jesse. The thing that I'm seeing right now as a futuristic point of view is, I remember back when QR codes were just like a nice to have feature, and then now they're super mainstream. You use that on your majorly all of your payment applications, right? So I'm looking for a time where like the use cases and NFTs become like a life utility, and they literally add value to your real life and not just a virtual life on Metaverse. And I don't know how that takes shape, honestly, at this point in time, but I'm just curious and waiting with my curiosity eyes to keep my eyes out for that eureka moment when it happens.
Who else has a point of view on the future?
Well, I also agree with that. Short-term future, I think we're looking at, potentially a lot of people owning NFTs in different aspects of their lives, and I think that's the most exciting thing I'm looking forward to, because currently I've got normal friends who don't even know what an NFT is, but pretty soon, I think in a few years from now, everyone will know about NFTs. They'll use it in some kind of way. If you look at all these big companies trying to get into the space already. So I think, apart from the skateboards and hoverboards and all those kind of things that I also hope for, I think the simplest thing is just to talk to each and every person every day, and knowing that there's some NFT behind what's driving it, whether it's a pizza being delivered or something. I think that will be phenomenal, because it means that, the future is then on its way.
Yeah, I'm excited about the impact of Web3 on education and online education. So I see some very interesting use case for online courses, and I don't think so far we've seen a lot of project in that space, but I think it has a lot of potential.
And that's interesting. Like, do you want to expand on like what do you mean exactly by that?
Yeah, I see some startup now that start to do some tool to provide NFTs to students of some course to reward them. And personally, I had some ideas also of a sort of decentralized version of Udemy where we can do some crowdfunding for courses, because one of the big issues is when you create a course, you don't know if it's going to work or not. So you can get some early feedback by doing a pre-sale, but maybe like a more formalized mechanism where like a course platform where it's like really built in, and nobody start to work on a course before having this early feedback. Say, okay, well, you set a target and you see like how fast you reach this, and then it gives you some feedback, and from then like you decide to go on and do the course, or you refund everybody because you think, okay, well, this is a little bit disappointing since there is not much interest. You can also have people who you can have a mechanism where people can be sort of ambassador for a course to say, okay, well, I want this course to be created, so now I'm going to try to find some people to fund the course, and I'm going to try to find an instructor. So I think we're going to see something huge here.
That's interesting.
Awesome. That is awesome. I hadn't thought about that. It makes me think that if it's something that's big enough for someone who's made a course on maybe a new product or something crazy, maybe that funding also goes towards like actually developing this thing further, almost like a crowdfunding for a product, and it doesn't just stop at education as well. Like they do have startups, or what do you call this, Kickstarter, but just doing it in different ways, you know. Well,
Yeah,
so
that
very
actually got
exciting.
me thinking.
Hmm.
That actually got me thinking whether how do you link up royalty chains? I mean, I would love to see some innovation happening there. Like for example, Daniel, you created like an NFT art collection that is being used by a secondary project, which has another set of royalties, and then there's someone else building on top of what those build. Maybe the open source world could be intertwined with the chain of royalties that go. It's like giving back to the person who started this revolution, sort of a mindset. I'd be more interested to see more
Yeah,
of that being implemented.
that's interesting as well. As long as the chain doesn't form a pyramid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's so interesting. I thought about creating a course that was basically NFT, like it's an NFT, and so like you take the course, you're done with it, you could resell it, and someone else buys the course from the
Yeah.
secondary market. I thought
So
about that
it's
at
like
one
a
point.
DVD. It's like a DVD.
Hmm. Yeah,
A
yeah,
Yeah.
DVD NFT. That's cool. That's very
exactly,
cool.
exactly. They take the course, they're done with it, whatever. They sell it. They resell it for however much. I don't know. um, but then I go back to like, okay, well, it's just videos, right? So those videos are just going to go everywhere, and the NFT is never going to sell because people are just going to pirate the videos. So,
Yeah. Well, the thing is true, but you still get people to comply with this. I mean, I don't know if you guys still do it now, but I remember getting a DVD, renting it, using it, right, and having to return it into that little box. And I'm trying to think like maybe NFT.
uh-oh, your internet's cutting out a bit, Daniel.
Out. Right.
It's okay. Yeah, you were talking about the whole DVD thing. I mean, I think that's the same thing with like books. You know, you go to the library, you get a book, whatever. Maybe that's an NFT somehow. Um, but you know, then you've got the whole copyright issues of reselling and all of that sort of stuff. But there's so many use cases. The sky is the limit on really. It's just, you know, that's what, again, back to what I'm excited about in the future is how do we innovate and how do we bring these different use cases to market? And it's
Yeah.
sessions just like this where we think of these ideas. And unfortunately, there's the public that are watching us, and then they can just steal our ideas. So maybe we should not record these. I don't know.
Well, I think this would be a good session to have every now and then to actually think of crazy business ideas. You know, we might not always do it ourselves, but if we can put it out in the world, JC, like that camera idea that we have, I'm pretty sure someone's making it right now. I think it would be amazing.
Awesome. Yeah. So yeah, we're getting close to time, and let's start wrapping up here. Does anyone have any final thoughts? Anything you want to add to the community before we go? I also want to just make sure that everyone goes to the Hashlips YouTube channel, go to the Eat the Blocks YouTube channel. Make sure that you subscribe to those before you leave, please. And then any final thoughts from the rest of you?
Yeah, I would just say, like, just don't be afraid of the current crash of the crypto market, and just be focused on the build new skill to make a long-term decision. Yeah, and you won't regret it.
Awesome.
I'll just end off saying thanks, Jesse, as well. Julian, Shivam, it was awesome chatting to you guys and everyone listening here. And just as well, what Julian said, make a decision and to be committed and be consistent with what you do, you know, and persist through everything.
Yeah, my thoughts would be this is what I usually say to people is knowledge is to be built, shared, and expanded, not to be begged, borrowed, or stolen. So try to build your own knowledge and just keep on learning. It's an endless journey that you will have to take on and continue doing it. I think it'll pay off if your power to grasp knowledge is very sharp. That's what I feel. But yeah, thanks for having me here. I mean, this was so fun. Like, I think we should do this more often.
Yeah. Wise words there. Again, thank you all for joining. We'll see. This was a test. This was an experiment. We'll see how the community reacts to this, and maybe we'll do this on a more frequent basis. We'll have others on as well, and we'll just kind of take it from there. But again, thank you all for joining. Appreciate it.